You know, I was appointed by Governor Haley in January of 2015. And when I came over to probation, I sensed that the agency was somewhat not sure about where they fit in the scheme of things. What I mean by that is, early on when the agency was created, it was just a state agency. It was not considered a law enforcement agency. And then around about, I think it was 1999 or 2000, they went and transitioned to a law enforcement agency, which meant that all of the probation agents had to go through the Criminal Justice Academy to become C1 certified. So for that period of time, they made that transition, but I don't think they really knew what that meant in terms of being a law enforcement agency. And so when I came on board, I saw, and being a former SLED agent, I spent 23 years with SLED. Being a former SLED agent, being in law enforcement all my life, I recognized that we weren't really functioning as a law enforcement agency. It was just very different. And so I immediately saw that as an issue. You know, how can you boost morale when you don't know who you are? You know, why do you have retention problems? It's because I thought because we didn't really know who we were. And there was times when they would have law enforcement discussions at the General Assembly level and things like that. When they talk about doing studies for law enforcement agencies, they would sometimes forget to even include probation, parole, and pardon services. And so I saw that as a major issue. And so I thought that if we could become accredited, not only would it improve our standards and help us with making sure that we're functioning in the manner that we should, but it would also help us with this identity issue that I thought the agency had. So now we are a nationally accredited law enforcement agency. I believe that we're the only probation agency in this country that has even ever sought national accreditation through CALEA, because I don't think that most of the other states that they would even qualify. I think I'm a member of the Executives in Probation, which is something that's sponsored by the National Institute of Corrections, and we meet twice a year. And I know it's about 20 or 25 states that come together, and I think I'm the only one, that my agency is the only one that has actual all of their probation agents as law enforcement officers. So in that unique situation, I said, how can we take advantage of this? It's different, but it can be a good thing. And so that was another reason that I wanted to seek accreditation, is to help us not only to improve policies, like I said before, but also help us with morale and really being the professional organization that I hope to see us become. And this is a step toward making that happen. Well, the moment I became the director, I started talking to the staff about my vision, the goals. And I said to them, I want us to be the best in the business. I want us to become one of the top probation agencies in the country. And so that's easy to say, but to actually make things happen and to go that direction is another whole story. And so I started really talking to the staff about what it takes to be the best in the business. And so when you do that, you have to have a plan. It's just not going to happen. And so every time I would go talk to staff, we have 46 counties in South Carolina, I'd visit almost all of those county offices, and I would have the same message about who we are, what it is that we're trying to do, what should we look like in the future. And so when I started talking about this accreditation process, I told them, I said, you know, there are some things that we're not doing correctly. We have been somewhat lucky that we have not gotten caught or someone hadn't gotten hurt because of some of our practices. I give a perfect example, evidence collection. In 46 different counties, we probably collected it in 46 different ways, and it was stored in different ways. Well, it no longer happens like that anymore. Now we have an actual evidence room that fit the standards with the security related issues and the access related restrictions to it. All of those things are in place. And as the director, I feel much better now that when we confiscate weapons or things like that, that we have a proper storage based on a clear standards. That's just one example. Another one is police officer safety. We didn't really have a real way to communicate with our agents when they're going to home visits. But as a result of CALEA, we now have a 24-hour dispatch with all the recordings and everything that you need, thanks to the State Law Enforcement Division, Chief Keel with SLED. I met with him and I talked about our communication needs along with the dispatch, and he was very instrumental in sharing the Fusion Center in Columbia to allow us to be able to meet those standards. So now when when an agent goes to an offender's home, we have that communication constantly going on, and they have able to respond immediately if they need to. So it's just, if you're going to be a law enforcement agent, you got to be a law enforcement agent. You can't do it kind of halfway. And so those are the kinds of things that has brought us to that level where we know now who we are, and we're doing it in a way that the way it should be done. And so my hat's off to all of the folks that have helped us get there, particularly SLED, because we would not be able to be accredited if they had not extended the communication piece to help us with the dispatch thing. So that's huge in terms of showing partnerships in South Carolina with different state agencies and so forth. I just recently met with the sheriff in Spartanburg County, Chuck Wright. I just had a conversation with the sheriff in Beaufort County, P.J. Tanner, to talk about helping us even with this evidence collection, because we only have the one central location, but now we're talking about having partnerships with Beaufort County and Spartanburg, who are both accredited. So anytime so we can have more than one location. So if an agent is in upstate, or he's in a very low part of the country, he doesn't have to drive all the way to Columbia every time he confiscates a weapon. So with those partnerships, we'll be able to streamline that process, even make it even better than it is today. So it's just a great process.